Five-star Jordan Seaton is still on Flip Watch.
You are Locked On Terps, your daily podcast on the Maryland Terps. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everyone? I'm Trey Moore, video content creator for 247 Sports and InsideMarylandSports.com, and host of Locked On Terps, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So thank you for making us part of your day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. The Jordan Seaton situation has gotten crazy. This situation with five-star offensive tackle from IMG, Jordan Seaton, has gotten out of hand. And I'll be honest with you guys, at this point, I don't even know what's really going on. I can just tell you about the facts and the situation that's happening. But it's been a whole lot of guessing, and there seems to be so many people chiming in and a ton of conspiracy theories on this situation. It feels a little bit off. It feels a little bit weird. There's a lot of people saying a lot of different things. I saw somewhere that said Jordan Seaton is the most talked about recruit in the entire country, which I honestly thought about. I was like, there are some highly talented guys in the 2024 class. Of course, there's talented guys in every class. But the fact is, Jordan Seaton really might be the most talked about kid out of all of them. I think it's between him and the kid the Ohio State wide receiver who's ranked number one in the country by a lot of recruiting websites, and Jeremiah Smith, I think his name is, who's committed to Ohio State, and there was a whole thing about him maybe going to Miami or whatever. We're not here to talk about him. We're here to talk about Jordan Seaton and the potential flip to Maryland. But he is definitely the most talked about guy and recruit right now in the 2024 class, and he honestly deserves to be talked about this much. This guy is a crazy talent. He's definitely worked really hard to be able to get in this situation, but it's definitely getting kind of wonky. It's getting kind of weird. We don't know what he wants to do. I don't know if he knows what he wants to do, but a lot of people are just kind of along for the ride at this point because he's definitely worth it. But this situation has definitely gotten weird, and I have no idea what's going on, to be completely honest with you guys. So we do have an update yesterday, and I just stumbled upon this. I had no idea this was going to happen. I'm in a Maryland Terrapins group chat with a bunch of fans and some media people for the Maryland Terrapins, and I completely stumbled upon this, but they did eventually send a link to this live stream on Hayes Fawcett's YouTube channel, or not his YouTube channel, on his Instagram. A lot of people know his channel or his Instagram page because he posts a lot of the 5-star, 4-star, highly recruited guys go to him for their posts and their commitment posts, and he posts and does a great job with their edits. He does a lot of different things over there on his Instagram page. So he was on live with Jordan Seaton, and I completely accidentally clicked on it. I didn't even mean to. I follow him, so it kind of popped up on my Instagram page, but I wasn't paying attention, and I couldn't see that Jordan Seaton was on the live. I could just see that Hayes Fawcett was on the live. But I clicked on it, and then I realized it was Jordan Seaton, and I was like, okay, I thought the commitment was coming or something. I thought he was announcing there on Hayes Fawcett, but then I was like, let me slow down. Let me listen to what he's actually saying. It's probably not a commitment if everyone's not talking about it. And he was on there, and I'm not going to lie. The live was a weird listen. It was a hard listen. I wasn't really sure what was going on. Hayes Fawcett guy was kind of just asking Jordan Seaton questions from the comment section. It wasn't very much, but there were a couple things we learned about the situations. You kind of had to pull, you kind of had to pay attention to the comments. You had to pay attention to exactly his tone and what he was saying. But like I said, at this point, we're all just guessing. He is still crystal ball to Maryland by Jeff Erman, the Inside Maryland Sports analyst and the top guy there. But we really don't know what's going on with this situation. And obviously, we hope that it's Maryland. And I'm still praying that it's Maryland because everyone called me a madman. All those Colorado fans called me crazy for talking about the potential flip of Jordan Seaton. So I'm praying and hoping it's Maryland, first of all, because of how talented he is and how it'll help Maryland overall. And Maryland actually did just pick up 2 new offensive line commits that are a really big deal. One from Georgia, one was a flip from Penn State, who originally was another transfer. So we got 2 new really highly talented offensive line commits. We got a bunch in the 2024 class and potentially Jordan Seaton. So the offensive line could look a lot better next year. Coach Loxley's putting in work. But those commitments happened as soon as I started recording. So I was like, dang it. But we'll definitely get into them on another day, potentially tomorrow, but we will be talking Maryland basketball plays UCLA tomorrow. There's a lot going on right now in Maryland sports. But back to the point. I was on the IG Live. I was listening to it because I was like, oh my gosh, it's Jordan Seaton. Maybe he's making his commitment. No, it was really awkward. And like I said, Hayes was just kind of reading comments and Jordan Seaton was answering them, but it was a very weird kind of thing. It was like Jordan Seaton was like in and out. It was like, I don't know if he was lagging. It was really weird situation. But there were a couple things we did learn that we didn't really know much about before. Number one, Nebraska seems somewhat involved. I don't know to what degree, but Nebraska did reach out to Jordan Seaton. So that is a thing. And Nebraska Coach Rule, they've been putting in work. I'm not even going to lie. We don't like Nebraska. It's a Big Ten opponent. We play them. We don't play them every year now, but we're going to play them a lot and we compete against them in the Big Ten. And them getting recruits isn't a good thing for Maryland. But I'll be honest. Coach Rule has been putting in work. Number one, he flipped the number 1 quarterback in one of the best players in the 2024 class in Dylan Raiola from Nebraska, as a lot of you guys know. Really good player, really talented player. I kind of see him starting next year as a freshman for Nebraska, and I have to check our 2024 schedule. I don't know if we play them, to be honest. I probably should have checked that. But if we do play them, we might play the number 1 quarterback in 2024 class, which is a huge flip for them. But they also flipped one of our players, which kind of made me kind of felt some type of way. I didn't like that they flipped Larry Taver, the talented. He was a 4-star for a while on Rivals, 3-star on 247, but any 4-star on any type of website, you'll definitely take if you're the Maryland program. But he was a 4-star on Rivals. But of course, we replaced that with Braden Lee, so it wasn't like a huge deal overall. But they still were able to flip Larry Taver. So that was kind of disappointing that Maryland couldn't hold on to him. He was really the only player that flipped away from the Terps. But Coach Rule's putting in work. So clearly they've got some money over there at Nebraska. And they reached out to Jordan Seaton. So I guess Nebraska is now involved somewhat. Maybe not really. We don't really know exactly. I think Oregon's involved. I don't know exactly. And Maryland is clearly involved. Maryland is clearly in play. I guess Maryland you would call a favorite right now. This whole situation, it's a whole lot of guessing. I feel like nobody really knows except for him. And the thing is, I realize this. Actually, I don't think he knows. He says he's made a decision, I think. I don't know if he's like signed and not told anyone. It's a really weird situation. And this is what I kind of take away from it. He doesn't know what he wants to do. That's what I think I kind of took away from the live, which is okay. It's okay that he doesn't know what he wants to do, but he should just take his time and say that I'm not sure, I need more time. I don't know what I'm going to do. And that's probably not a good thing for Maryland. I feel like more time, the less likely we are to land him. But the fact that he doesn't know what he's doing makes a lot more sense because nobody else knows. And you know that all these analysts, and especially 247, they're great at getting the inside tell. And they seem to know where the recruits are going before the recruits know where they're going. And the crystal ball thing seems to always be right 99% of the time, it feels like. But it's not that high. But it seems like it a lot of the time. It seems like they always know, like, it was crystal ball that Braden Lee was going to flip to Maryland. Like, how do they know that? Like, who are they speaking? It's weird how they know that stuff. But I feel like the Jordan Seaton situation, nobody really knows because he doesn't know. So if he doesn't know, no one else is going to know. I don't know if Coach Prime knows at Colorado. I don't know if Coach Loxley knows. We don't know if he's really signed with the team and hasn't told anyone. He has until Friday for this early signing period, but we have no idea what is going on with this guy. But he is definitely on flip watch for sure. Nobody can say this is clickbait anymore because right now he's predicted to go to Maryland on 247. So we'll see what happens with that if that comes into fruition. Obviously, we want this guy so badly. I've talked about it for like 3-4 straight days. And I don't want to say I'm tired of talking about it, but I'm a little bit tired of talking about it because it's just so confusing and I have no idea what's going to happen. And it's hard to come on here talking about what's going to happen. Last point before we get to the next thing. Rakeem Jarrett was in the live and was in the comment section. Rakeem Jarrett commented. He said something like, it was like, here, I have it in my notes. Tell them already. So Rakeem Jarrett seems to think that Jordan Seaton is a Terp, which is interesting overall. But I did want to make sure I said that because that was the other thing we learned from the live, that Nebraska was somewhat in play. And we learned that he also stopped the live for a second. He had to go for a second because a coach was calling him. You wonder who that is. Was it Coach Prime? Was it Coach Loxley? Was it Coach Lanning at Oregon? Who was calling him? Was it Coach Saban making a last-ditch effort? We don't really know. We have no idea. This whole thing is just guessing. And the third thing was Rakeem Jarrett said, tell them already. So it's a lot of guessing. It's a lot of we don't really know overall what is going on with the situation. But we know one thing, Maryland is definitely in play unless he's already signed with somebody else and he just hasn't told us. But Maryland's definitely in play if he hasn't made up his mind. But it would obviously be huge. But this whole situation is really weird. A key Maryland player that's made a big impact over the last couple of years has decided to hit the portal. I'll tell you about what kind of loss that is for the Terps after this message from LinkedIn Jobs. These days, new potential hires can feel like high-stakes wagers for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. A lot of people need jobs right now. If you want to find someone amazing for your company, LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Antwain Littleton, a lot of people love him, but he decided to hit the portal, the Maryland running back. But I'm here to tell you guys, we will be okay. We will be all right. Antwain Littleton's a good player. I don't want to come on here and bash him, but I don't think he's anything crazy that we have to worry about replacing him in the portal overall. I think the Terps are okay without Antwain Littleton, but he announced today. This morning it seemed like the report came out. I felt like when I woke up, I saw a notification on my phone that Antwain Littleton was hitting the portal. So it's definitely sometime this morning that the decision came out. I'm sure he probably made the decision maybe a couple of days ago. I don't know exactly the timeline of it, but he definitely made the decision, came out today. And he's a redshirt sophomore. And you guys understand what Antwain Littleton. He's a big-bodied back. A lot of people knew him out of high school because of how big he was. He was like 260, 270 pounds at running back. And everyone knew he was going to have to lose a lot of weight, do a lot of different things to become a Division I Power 5 type of running back. But the traits were there because the way he was moving at 260, 270 pounds was crazy. So Maryland's nutrition staff did an amazing job of getting him down, getting him in shape. And now he's a really solid, big-bodied, really good in short yardage situations overall. But he definitely had an up and down year for the Terps. He had some bad penalties at time. I remember a game, it seemed like he got benched because I think he had an unsportsmanlike, but it was up and down at times. Some games you'd be like, okay, he looks solid. Some games he didn't look great. It was definitely up and down overall for Antwain Littleton. And that's a big reason why I think we will be okay, because I think he regressed a lot from his freshman year to his sophomore year. And the stats say exactly that he regressed. This year, 69 carries, 255 yards, and 3.7 yards per carry with 2 touchdowns. And then last year, the reason I say, or 2 years ago, or I guess you would still say that is this year's stats: 69 carries, 255 yards, 3.7 average. We still have a bowl game. We're still in this year. And then last year, he regressed from last year with 76 carries, 379 yards with an average of 5 yards per carry and 6 touchdowns. So his average went down from 5 yards per carry in his first year as playing and being kind of that dual running back room with Roman Hemby to 3.7 yards per carry this year. And his touchdowns went down by 4, and his carries were down some, and his yards were down. So everything was down basically for Antwain Littleton overall. So he regressed. He definitely regressed. And it's hard for me to blame it all on him, because definitely some of the run lanes weren't there this year at times. But then I thought about it more, and I was looking at what Roman Hemby has done and Colby McDonald has done. And it's like their stats, their averages aren't nearly what his were, or as low as his were. And I know he's more of the short yardage guy, but even so, Maryland would just use him in a lot of normal carries and rotate him with Antwain Littleton over. Excuse me, I meant rotating carries with Roman Hemby overall. So it's kind of interesting, but I looked at Roman Hemby and Colby McDonald's averages this year, and Roman was at 4.9 yards per carry, which isn't like great for college football. I mean, it's good for the NFL, but it's not great for Roman Hemby, but it's still almost 5 yards per carry, and Colby McDonald averaged 6. So overall, Antwain Littleton averaging 3.7, it's a big concern. And he was getting more carries than Colby McDonald was. And a big part of the question marks this year, I made a couple of segments about, should Colby McDonald getting more carries? Should Colby McDonald be running back 2 over Antwain Littleton? And I say yes. I think he was. And Antwain Littleton's gone now, so Colby McDonald will be able to prove that he should be running back 2 overall. And I think he will prove that. I think Colby McDonald's a really solid back. He averaged 6 yards per carry. And at a time, it was at like above 7. It was a crazy amount for Colby McDonald. He had a couple of games where he was just on a tear overall, where he was doing some things. So we still have Hemby, who is going to be an NFL player. We still have Colby McDonald, who's very solid and did some really good things last year. And we still have the freshman coming on in Williams, who I think is going to be a really good back, and he's going to take over for Roman Hemby when he's gone. So I do think that we're okay without Antwain Littleton. I don't think it's like a huge loss. It might seem like a bigger loss because of the name and how much fans like Antwain Littleton. And I love Antwain Littleton too, but I think this is one of those losses that don't hurt us a ton, and even could, I don't want to say help us, but could help us in ways, just because at times it seemed like he just wasn't at his best last year. And I know a big part of it wasn't all him. Offensive line wasn't great. Different things weren't great overall, but I do think that he might be better off being somewhere else overall that uses him a little bit better. I said he should be the goal line back. I said he should get the short yardage stuff. But a big guy that got a big part of that, I remember the Michigan game, was Billy Edwards. So in QB sneak situations. And I don't want to say Antwain Littleton, you kind of just guess that he's good at the short yardage stuff, but even sometimes during last year, the short yardage stuff wasn't amazing for Antwain Littleton, and it was bad overall as a team. So I wish he wasn't transferring. I wish we still had him, but I still think we're in a good spot. And it allows, big thing for me is it allows Williams to probably get in that top 3, the running back from St. Francis, who's a 4-star, getting that top 3 rotation with Colby McDonald and Roman Hemby, which is huge because these guys transfer all the time now. So him getting carries early as a freshman instead of having Antwain Littleton in there, it's going to be big, because we can't afford to lose Williams, because we need Jaishawn Williams. We need running backs for sure in the future, because Hemby's not going to be here forever. I know since he's been playing, since he's a redshirt freshman, it seems like he's going to be here, but eventually he's going to be gone overall. So losing Antwain Littleton definitely hurts, but I think we're okay. But if you remember, we also lost Ramon Brown, so we can't lose everybody in the running back room. But I do think we're going to be okay without these two in the running back room. We'll see maybe if Coach Loxley adds someone in the portal. I doubt someone will want to come here in the portal because just of how Roman Hemby is running back one, but you never know if he could add someone in the portal overall. Former Terp linebacker Jaishawn Barham has picked what school he wants to go to and has committed. But this isn't a good sign for the Terps. I'll talk about that after this ad from FanDuel. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. Jaishawn Barham, our star linebacker, has committed to the University of Michigan. I'll tell you why this isn't a good sign for the Terps right now. So Jaishawn Barham, you guys all know him. He was our star linebacker. I don't want to say he's a little bit disappointing this season, but we expected a huge jump from his freshman year because he's freshman All-American, looks super talented, did things that normal linebackers, normal players just can't do. But he kind of was even keeled this year. He was solid, but it didn't feel like a huge step up overall. But he's still a guy that we looked at as a junior as, oh, this guy's one of the best linebackers, could be one of the best linebackers in the Big Ten. And it was interesting because I thought he was our best pass rusher for a while coming off the edge. I kept saying, just rush this guy off the pass or rush this guy on third downs more because he's really talented getting to the quarterback. He has really good bend, really good quickness, maybe not a ton of moves, but he can definitely get to the quarterback and does a really good job just based on his athleticism and his traits overall. But we didn't just use him as a pass rusher. We used him a lot as a linebacker. He was mainly just a stand-up linebacker, which I didn't have a problem with. I just said, get him to the quarterback on third downs. But the point is, he's at Michigan now. He decided to commit to Michigan when he hit the portal, which is a big pickup for Michigan. I'll be interested to see how Michigan uses this guy. Will they put on some weight on him and just use him as a pass rusher? Or will they go with another way and decide that he's a stand-up linebacker? But he should play for Michigan. He should be a starter. He's that type of player. He's a really good player. He'd start basically anywhere in the country. So Michigan, one of the best teams in the country, he's still going to play with. But my point is, this isn't a good sign for the Terps because a lot of people have used this for a reason of attacking us. I saw South Carolina fans say this after Braden Lee committed or before Braden Lee committed about Maryland. And when we were going back and forth, a lot of Maryland fans were going back and forth. But there was a lot of truth to this. Maryland can't hold on, it seems, to Coach Loxley's highest rated recruits. Loxley's done a pretty good job of getting some high-level guys. You think of Jaishawn Barham, you think of Chop Robinson, you think of these guys that he's been able to get, but we don't seem to keep these guys. I mean, we kept Raheem Jarrett. We did a good job of keeping Raheem Jarrett, but we don't seem to keep these other guys like a Chop Robinson. We need these type of guys. Imagine if we added Chop Robinson to our defense this year. That could be a difference between another win and another loss. I mean, maybe not, but Chop Robinson's going to be a first-round NFL draft. It's huge to have a guy like that coming off the edge. And then you think of losing Jaishawn Barham. We would love to have Jaishawn Barham as a junior linebacker. Sure, there's other good players in the linebacker room that are young, that are going to be able to do some things that I'm excited to see. But Jaishawn Barham as a junior, that's why you recruit him. Because when he gets his junior year, he's going to be a stud. He's going to be a standout. And so we seem to be losing a lot of the guys that Coach Loxley recruits. That's the top of the recruiting list, the top guys. It seems like we can't hold on to them, that they transfer out after 2 years or 1 year or whatever to somewhere else, a program that's better than us right now. So I don't want that to be a pattern. I don't want that to happen. If Jordan Seaton commits, that's what a lot of people are saying. Oh, he's going to go there to Maryland for 1 year and then flip. I don't want to see that happen overall. I want us to be able to hold on to these recruits and really put them into the NFL. That's another next step. It's really Coach Loxley's getting to the point where it's like, okay, we're a bowl team. We're a 7-8 win type of team. And this is kind of a talk for another day. I'll be wrapping this up. But can he do something a little bit different? Can he get to a next level of recruiting in terms of wins? Can he get to 9-10 wins? There's different steps to what Coach Loxley, he's kind of accomplished this 8-win, like solid recruiting class every year. Maybe get a guy that we don't normally get. He's kind of done that. Can he take another step? Can he hold on to a lot of these guys? We'll see overall. That's kind of another segment I'll talk about on another day, closer, more into the offseason after bowl coverage, probably after basketball season. But that's something I'm asking myself about Coach Loxley. Can he keep these guys, hang on to a lot of these guys overall? We'll see. He hasn't been able to do it, but that's kind of why I say it's a bad thing that he flips to Michigan, and it's also Michigan. It's a Big Ten opponent. We don't play Michigan next year, but we're going to play them eventually, and we compete against them now to get to the Big Ten championship. And I'm not saying we're getting there with all the new teams and even without the new teams, but there's no sides anymore. So there's still a big loss for the Terps. That's all we have for today. Tomorrow we'll talk about the Maryland basketball game and them playing UCLA, a struggling UCLA team. We'll talk about that and how that's a must-win tomorrow. So make sure you like and subscribe for that. But thank you for listening to Locked on Terps.